Welcome. Good morning. Today we're going to talk about strength. And I think we get strength wrong most of the time. We think strength is about muscles and force or about dominance. We think that strength is the ability to overpower or push through or never show weakness. And we admire the strong man who lifts heavy weights or the warrior who never backs down or even the leader who never admits doubt. But that's not what spiritual strength is. That's not the power Charles Fillmore was talking about when he identified strength as one of the 12 powers. And that's not what we see in Andrew, the disciple associated with this faculty. Andrew wasn't flashy. He wasn't the one walking on water or asking to sit at Jesus' right hand. He wasn't Peter, his brother, who was always front and center. Andrew was quiet, steady, reliable. He was the one who brought people to Jesus. He was the one who found the boy with the loaves and the fishes when everyone else saw an impossible situation. He showed up. He endured. He had the courage to follow without needing to be the star. That's real strength. Spiritual strength. Charles Fillmore located the power of strength in the loins, in the low backs, in the small of the back. This is your physical foundation. This is what holds you upright. This is the center of gravity, the place of support, the core of that everything else depends on. When your low back is strong, you can stand. When it's weak, believe me, everything else collapses and it hurts. And spirituality is the same. Strength is the power that holds you steady, that keeps you going, that helps you face what's hard. Strength is the foundation that everything else is built on. Without it, the other powers can't function. You can have all the faith in the world, but without strength, you won't endure long enough to see it manifest. You can have tremendous love, but without strength, you'll burn out trying to give it. Strength has three faces, three expressions, and ways that it shows up in your life. And you need all three. You need stability, endurance, and courage. These aren't separate powers, they're different facets of the same divine faculty, and together they make you unstoppable. So let's start with stability. Stability is the strength to stand steady. It's to show up every single day, even when it's not exciting, even when there's no one watching, or when you don't feel like it. Stability is the unglamorous, faithful presence that just keeps going. Think about parents caring for their kids. It's not the big moments that define parenting. It's not the birthday parties or the vacations or the special occasions. It's the daily work. The lunches packed every morning, the clothes washed and folded, the homework supervised, the scraped knees bandaged, the bedtime stories read for the thousandth time, the showing up when they're sick, when they're scared, when they need you at 3 a.m. That's stability. That's strength. It's not dramatic. It won't make headlines, but it's everything. Kids don't need perfect parents. They need stable parents. They need to know you'll be there. They need to trust that you're not going anywhere. That predictability and reliability, that steady presence, creates the foundation on which they build their entire sense of security. When a child knows that dinner happens every night, that bedtime is consistent, that mom or dad will pick them up from school, that promises are kept, they internalize stability. They learn that the world is trustworthy. They learn that people follow through. They develop a secure attachment that will serve them for the rest of their lives. And all of that comes from the unglamorous daily work of just showing up. That's the strength of stability in action. And it's not just parenting. Stability shows up in work. It's the person who comes in on time, does the job, follows through on commitments. It's the colleague that doesn't need to be reminded, who doesn't drop the ball. That person that can be counted on to deliver what they said they'd deliver. Organizations are built on people like this. Teams function because of people like this. They're not necessarily the stars, the ones getting promotions or recognition. They're the steady ones who keep everything running. Stability shows up in friendship. It's the friend who checks in regularly, not just when there's a crisis. It's the one who remembers your birthday, who asks how that thing turned out, who's there for ordinary moments, not just the dramatic ones. Deep friendships aren't built on intensity, they're built on consistency. They're built on showing up again and again and again until you've woven a bond strong enough to weather anything. And stability absolutely shows up in spiritual practice. It's the meditation you do every morning, even when it feels routine. It's the prayer practice you maintain, even when you're not getting lightning bolts of insights. It's the affirmation you speak when your circumstances haven't changed. It's the Sunday service you attend even when you'd rather sleep in. Spiritual growth isn't usually dramatic. It's usually incremental. It happens in the daily practice, the steady commitments, the faithful showing up even when nothing seems to be happening. Stability is boring, but it's powerful because stability creates trust. When people know you'll be there, they can relax around you. They can depend on you. That creates safety, connection, depth. Stability builds momentum. One day of showing up doesn't change much, but 100 days, 1,000 days, 10,000 days of showing up, that changes everything. Stability is the difference between a foundation that can hold a house and sand that shifts with every wind. And here's the thing about stability. It's not showy. Andrew wasn't showy. He didn't need attention. He didn't need credit. He just showed up. He did the work. He was the steady one. That's the strength of stability. It doesn't announce itself. It just is. Now let's talk about endurance. Endurance is the strength for the long haul. It's the capacity to keep going when things get hard, when the initial excitement wears off, when you're tired, and you still have miles to go. Endurance is what gets you through the middle, the long slog between the beginning and the end. Think about long marriages, long-term relationships, friendships that span decades. Every relationship has seasons. There are seasons of joy and connection and ease. There are seasons of difficulty, of distance, of conflict. There are times when you like each other and times when you don't. There are times when it's effortless and times when it takes everything you have just to stay in the room together. Endurance is what gets you through those hard seasons. It's the strength to see the value in continuing even when it would be easier to walk away. It's the maturity to recognize that rough patches don't mean failure. They mean you're human. They mean you're growing. It means the relationship is deepening, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. Think of a marriage of 30, 40, 50 years. If you think those couples never wanted to leave, I don't think you've talked to them. If you think they never looked at each other and thought, who is this person and why are we doing this? Of course they did. But they had the endurance to stay. They had the strength to work through it and remember why they chose each other, to recommit even when the feelings weren't there. And on the other side of that endurance, there's a depth of connection that people who bail at the first sign of difficulty will never know. The same is true for friendships. Real friendship endures through life changes, through moves, through different seasons, through conflicts and misunderstandings and periods of distance. Surface friendships dissolve when things get complicated. Deep friendships endure because both people have the strength to show up even when it's awkward, or if it's hard, or even when it would be easier to just let it fade. Endurance shows up in your work too. Building anything worthwhile takes time. Careers aren't made in a year. Businesses don't become successful overnight. In fact, most overnight successes that I've heard about, when I've gotten the chance to talk to the person, there was about 20 years of hard work before that overnight success. Skills take thousands of hours to develop, and there's always a middle person, a long stretch where you're doing the work and not seeing the results yet, where it feels like nothing's happening, where you might be tempted to quit and try something else. The people who succeed aren't necessarily more talented. They're the ones with the endurance to keep going through that middle period. Endurance is what gets you through grief. When you lose someone you love, the early days are acute. Everyone shows up, everyone brings food, everyone offers support. But then weeks pass, months pass, everyone else moves on, and you're still grieving. You're still waking up every day to absence. You're still learning how to live in a world without that person. That takes endurance, the strength to get up every morning, put one foot in front of the other, even when the sadness is overwhelming. The capacity to keep going even when you don't want to. And slowly, imperceptibly, you discover you're surviving. You're enduring, and the grief that felt like it would destroy you is something you can carry. People who lack endurance fail at the first sign of difficulty. They leave their jobs when they get boring. They end relationships when the honeymoon phase ends. They abandon projects when they hit obstacles. They're always starting over, always looking for the next exciting thing, always wondering why nothing ever works out for them. And the answer is simple. They don't have the strength to endure. But endurance isn't just gritting your teeth and suffering through. That's not spiritual strength. That's just stubbornness, and it will exhaust you. Real endurance comes from the understanding that challenges are part of the process, not a sign that you're on the wrong path. Real endurance comes from trusting that there's value in continuing, that there's something being built even when you can't see it yet, that the struggle is forming you into someone stronger. Athletes understand this. Runners know about hitting the wall, that moment when your body wants to quit and your mind has to take over and push you through. They know that the race isn't won in the first mile, it's won in the middle, in the hard miles when everything hurts and you have to find the strength to keep going anyway. That's endurance. And you build it over time. You can't shortcut it. You have to go through the hard things and discover that you can survive them. You have to face difficulty and come out on the other side. Every time you do, you get stronger. Every time you endure, you build spiritual stamina. And eventually, you become someone who can handle whatever comes. You become resilient. You become steady and strong. And that brings us to the third facet of strength, and that's courage. Courage is the strength to face what scares you. It's doing the thing even though you're afraid. It's moving forward even when you don't know what's coming. It's standing up when it would be safer to sit down. Courage can look like standing up to a bully. Maybe it's a physical bully. Maybe it's someone trying to intimidate you or harm you or someone you love. Courage is refusing to be bullied. It's saying no. It's drawing a boundary. It's protecting yourself or someone else, even when it puts you at risk. That takes tremendous strength. It's the parent who confronts the coach mistreating their child. It's the coworker who speaks up when someone's being harassed, or the friend who steps in when someone's being targeted. Physical courage, the willingness to put your body on the line, is rare and powerful. But courage can also look like walking away from a fight. It takes strength to refuse to engage when someone's trying to provoke you. It takes strength to let go, to not defend yourself, to trust that you don't have to prove anything. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is nothing. Sometimes courage is restraint. That's the person who doesn't respond to the bait, who doesn't escalate, who chooses peace over being right. That's a different kind of courage, and it's just as powerful, if not more so. Courage shows up when you're fighting a disease, when you get a diagnosis that terrifies you and you have to show up to treatment anyway. When the cure is almost as bad as the illness and you choose it anyway. When you're in pain and you choose to keep going. When the outcome isn't certain and you decide to hope anyway. All of that's courage, not the absence of fear, but the willingness to move forward despite it. It's getting in the car when driving the chemo. It's swallowing the pills that make you sick. It's trusting your body even when it feels like it's betraying you. Every person who's faced serious illness knows this kind of courage intimately. Courage is making hard choices. It's leaving the job that's killing your spirit, even though you don't know what's next, even though the money was good, even though everyone thinks you're crazy. It's ending the relationship that's become toxic, even though you're afraid of being alone, even though you've invested years, even though starting over feels impossible. It's starting the business, even though it might fail, even though people are skeptical, even though you're risking your savings. It's going back to school at 40 or 50 or 60, even though you're the oldest person in class. It's coming out, even though you might lose people you love. It's getting sober, even though your whole social life is built around drinking. Courage is speaking your truth, even when people might reject you. It's saying, I disagree, in a room full of people nodding along. It's writing the book, even though critics will tear it apart. It's sharing your art, even though someone might hate it. It's admitting you're wrong, even though it costs you credibility. It's apologizing, even though you're not sure if it'll be accepted. It's saying, I love you first, even if they might not say it back. And here's what makes courage truly spiritual. It requires vulnerability. Brené Brown has taught us this. Real courage isn't armor. It's not pretending you're not scared. It's admitting you're terrified and doing it anyway. It's showing up with your whole heart, knowing you might get hurt. It's opening yourself to possibility, to connection, to growth, even though that means opening yourself to risk. Fear doesn't disappear when you're courageous. Fear is still there. You just stop letting it make your decisions for you. You feel the fear and you choose to act anyway. That's strength. That's the power of courage. Now here's what's beautiful. These three expressions of strength work together. You can't have one without the other, or you can't have true strength without all three. Here's what you need to understand is you need stability to build endurance. If you're not showing up consistently, if you're not reliable, if you're not grounded, you can't develop the stamina for the long haul. Endurance is built on a foundation of daily stability, or showing up over and over until you've created momentum, until you've built the capacity. You need endurance to develop courage. When you've been through hard times and survived, when you've endured the difficulty and come out the other side, you develop confidence. You know you can handle it. You've done it before. So when something new and scary comes along, you have a track record to draw on. You have the evidence that you're stronger than you think, and that makes courage possible. And you need courage to maintain stability, because there will be times when showing up, when being steady, when staying the course requires you to face something hard. There will be times when it would be easier to quit, to walk away, to break the pattern. Courage is what keeps you stable even when everything in you wants to flee. They're not separate. They're one power expressing in different ways. Stability, endurance, and courage. Andrew embodies all three. He's quietly steady, he's faithfully present for the long haul, and he's courageous enough to follow Jesus without needing to understand everything, without needing guarantees, and without needing to be the star. So how do you activate this power in your own life? Where do you need more strength? Where do you need more stability? Maybe you need to establish a spiritual practice and stick with it. Maybe you need to show up more consistently in your relationships, at your work. Maybe you need to keep your commitments. Maybe you need to be the steady one, the reliable one, the person that others can count on. Stability doesn't require you to be perfect. It just requires you to show up. Where do you need more endurance? Maybe you're in the middle of something hard and you're tempted to give up. Maybe you're in a relationship that's going through a rough patch and you need to remember that this season will pass. Maybe you're working on a project that's taking longer than you expected and you need to trust the process. Maybe you're healing from something and it's taking time and you need to be patient with yourself. Endurance is the long game. It's the willingness to keep going even when you can't see the finish line yet. Where do you need more courage? Maybe you need to have a hard conversation. Maybe you need to set a boundary. Maybe you need to walk away from something that's not serving you. Maybe you need to try something new even though you might fail. Maybe you need to stand up for what you believe even though it might cost you something. Or maybe you need to be vulnerable. It's not my favorite, but maybe you need to be vulnerable and let someone see the real you, to risk being hurt in order to be truly connected. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the willingness to act despite it. You can call on this power, you can activate it, and you can build it. Just like you build physical strength by working your muscles, you build spiritual strength by using it. Every time you choose stability over chaos, you get stronger. Every time you endure through difficulty, you build stamina. Every time you act courageously despite your fear, you become braver. And there are practices that help, grounding practices that connect you to the earth, to your body, to your foundation, standing in mountain pose, feeling your feet on the ground, feeling your spine strong and steady, breathing deeply into your lower back, into the center of strength, feeling it support you. Affirmations that reinforce your capacity. I am strong. I am ready. I am resilient. I endure. I have the courage to face what comes. Charles Fillmore taught that these powers are already in you. You're not trying to get strength from somewhere outside of yourself. You're activating what's already there. You are made in the image and likeness of God, and God is infinitely strong. That strength is in you. It's part of your divine nature. You just have to claim it, call it forth, and use it. Andrew shows us how. He wasn't trying to be strong, he just was. He lived from that place of quiet, steady power. He showed up. He endured. He had the courage to follow without needing to be front and center. And he changed the world, one person at a time, one act of service at a time, one faithful presence at a time. Let's take a few moments now to connect with the power of strength within you. So go ahead and find a comfortable position, sitting or standing. And if you'd like, gently close your eyes. If not, simply soften your gaze. Let your whole body relax. Take a deep breath. Let it out. Take another. Let your body relax even more deeply. And bring your awareness to your lower back, to the small of your back, to your physical center of gravity. This is where the power of strength resides in your body. Feel the support there. Feel the foundation. Place your hand on your lower back if that feels comfortable. And imagine warm golden light filling that space, strengthening it, fortifying it. Feel yourself becoming more stable, more grounded, more solid. You are not a leaf blowing in the wind. You are a tree with deep roots. You are steady. Now imagine that strength spreading through your entire body, through your spine, through your legs, through your core. You are strong enough to handle whatever comes. You have the endurance to keep going even when it's hard. You have the courage to face what scares you. Breathe into that knowing. Feel it in your body. You are stronger than you think. You have survived every hard thing that's ever happened to you. You're still here. You are resilient. You are powerful. Rest in this feeling of strength, of stability, and groundedness. As we go into our minute of silence, just rest in that feeling of strength. And as we come out of the silence, gently bring your awareness back to your body, back to the room you're in if you're inside, back to the moment right here, right now. When you're ready, open your eyes, feeling the strength that's always been in you, ready to support you in all that you do. Here's what I know to be true. Strength is not loud or flashy. It's not about overpowering anyone or anything. Real strength is quiet and steady. It's the foundation that holds everything else up. You are stronger than you know. You have the capacity for stability, for endurance, for courage. You can show up every day. You can keep going through the hard seasons. You can face what scares you and do it anyway. This power is in you. It's part of who you are. It's your divine inheritance. And every time you use it, every time you choose it, you become more of who you're always meant to be. And so it is.